All right, my friends, welcome back to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street channel. We are doing what I love doing on this channel today. We are going to be reviewing another creator's account to really analyze the financial advice that's given. Now, you know my opinion on this. 97% of their traditional financial advice that's given is dangerous, misleading, or outright wrong. And it's so healthy to expose the lies and deceit inside of traditional financial advice, especially if you want to be financially free in 10 years or less. So today we're going to be analyzing Nischa's YouTube channel. Now I'm excited to watch her YouTube channel because I've heard really good things about what she teaches and trains her audience on. So let's dive right in. We're gonna be watching the video, The Optimal Order of Investing Your Money. Let's see what she has to say.
We are taught from a young age to follow a certain path. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, get promoted. But after achieving these milestones, what's next? What should you do with the money that you've earned? It seems like the focus on financial guidance disappears after the good job part. When it comes to payday, there is a lot of conflicting advice on where you should put your money and in what order. Do you pay off debt? Do you save? Do you invest? We are continuously fearful of making the wrong choices. So what actually is the optimal order for investing your money?
Order of operations matters. Let me give you just a quick example. Let's say you wake up in the morning without any regard to order of operations. And the first thing that you do is you brush your teeth. Then the second thing that you do is you go eat breakfast. And the third thing that you do is you put your shirt on. Then the fourth thing you do is you get in your car to go to work, but you forgot to put on your pants because that wasn't in the order of operations.
Okay, so Lily came down to the office to bring me my pants.
And why did she have to do that?
Because I forgot my pants.
My friends, this is why order of operations matter. There is a sequential order to follow to get the desired results. And I love that Nischa's going into this. So let's see what she has to say.
Number one, build up a safety net. Before you invest in the stock market, before you invest in real estate, before you invest in equipment for your new business, you want to have a safety net. This is the very first thing you want to do. Focus number one, before you do anything else, is save 1 month's worth of expense and put it into a high interest savings account that you can easily access whenever you need to without paying any fees. I want to clarify something here. Is it financially optimal for you to instead pay off your debt before you save for an emergency fund? Yes, but being mathematically optimal is different to psychologically optimal. And the psychological comfort of knowing you have a small emergency fund and that you won't need to go into debt to pay for an unexpected expense frees you from a lot of additional stress. And this isn't money to then...
I love everything she's talking about. Listen, here's the reality of it, my friends. You have to have a sleep well at night account. You have to buffer for the contingencies that life is inevitably going to throw at you. The reason so many people find themselves in a deeper and a deeper hole is they never do what Nischa's talking about. They never prepare for the inevitable chaos that life will bring. They don't have a buffer against unexpected expenses. And when you look at it over a long enough time horizon, unexpected expenses are nothing more than expected expenses, right? You just haven't planned for it. So Nischa here is advising you to put your money in an account where it's easily accessible. I call this a sleep well at night account. I like to keep this account optimally named. I like to keep the money in there as sacred money. And every time I go and access the money in that account, I ask myself one question: can I be more resourceful to solve my financial problem? Because the money that I've put in that account is there to preserve me from going backwards in the case of emergency. I love what she's talking about. Let's keep going.
And spend on everyday expenses. This emergency fund really needs to be kept away. Forget you even have it outside. Start off with 1 month's expense. This will cover most small emergencies, and you can look into adding to this after you do the next step first, and that is paying off your high interest debt. The majority of adults are in debt, and we've accepted this as the norm. We may have bought a new car.
She's going in phenomenal direction, okay? So number one, have your sleep well at night account, your buffer against the chaos of life. And she talked a little bit about in there, is it an optimal return on investment? Listen, there's two returns that you have to consider. There is always the return on investment, but I can always show you something that will potentially get you a higher return on investment. And the return that most people fail to recognize is the return on your attention. Having a safety reserve, having a buffer account, having a safety net will give you a higher return on attention. What does that do for you? Well, it allows you to be more abundant, be more productive, be a better steward over the resources that you have, rather than constantly going forward and then going backwards. Now, the second thing that she's talking about is the game of investing. Now, realize this, she's not actually telling you to invest yet. Number one, she's putting you in a safety position. Number two, she's showing you the fastest way to get the highest rate of return. And most people fail to recognize this. When people think of investing, what do they think of? Well, I want my money to grow. I want to earn a 5, 6, 7, 8% return in the stock market. But the fastest way to get the highest rate of return for most people is to stop paying high interest rates on credit cards.
I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
Stop paying 15, 18, 20, 30% by knocking out your credit cards. It's the exact same thing as earning a 30% return in the stock market, which is virtually impossible for most people.
That we could have bought used. We may have bought something that we didn't even need to impress people that we don't even like. One of the biggest problems with debt is that it restricts your monthly income. If you have high interest debt that is eating away on your income, it massively restricts the amount you can save and the amount of everything else that you can do. Instead, if you focus on paying off debt, that is a tax-free, risk-free, guaranteed rate of return. If you have credit card debt,
guaranteed rate of return. The fastest way to a guaranteed double-digit rate of return, pay off your credit card debt. And remember, once you've paid it off, learn the lesson. I can't tell you how many times people pay off the credit card debt just to find themselves 6 months later back in the same hole that they were previously in. When you pay off your credit card debt, make sure you fill what you need to fill. Find a righteous desire inside of you to be adequately pissed off about the situation you're in. Because what Nischa just said is you probably bought something that you didn't really need or want to impress people that you probably don't care about. This is the consumer condition that most people live in. Buying things will not make you happy. Buying things will not get you friends. Buying things will not help you find a sense of purpose and meaning inside of your life. Spend your money according to your values and eliminate worthless spending on worthless things.
That is charging you 20%. Then by paying off that debt, you're making a guaranteed return of 20% on that principal, the interest that you'll no longer be paying. The very first high interest debt you want to pay off is your credit card debt. Forget about meal planning, forget about cutting costs in any other place. This is where you're going to take the biggest step towards financial freedom. So what is high interest debt? I would define high interest debt as anything above 8% interest. Some people say 6%, others say 10%. The reason I chose 8% is because historically, when investing in the stock market, you can expect to earn about 10% annually. And when you adjust this for inflation, it's around 8%. So to me, anything above what you could earn in the stock market is going to be high interest debt. But what about mortgages or other smaller loans? Usually the interest on that isn't as high as credit card debt or overdraft fees, so you can continue making the minimum payments on those and do the next step instead. Number 3 on my list of order is what you will hear a lot of personal finance people talking about doing as step 1, as it's free money. How could you be saying no to free money? But the reason why I don't think it makes sense to put this as number 1 is because it's something that you will benefit from in 20, 30, 40 years from now. And that doesn't matter if you can't get your finances today in a good place to start with. So once you have steps 1 to 2 done, then you want to take the match that your employer
up to this step number 1 and step number 2, phenomenal advice. My friends, if you do not have a buffer against emergencies of life, I personally today like to have at least 3 to 6 months of my average monthly spend in reserve. That's my sleep well at night account. That's my buffer against life. That's my buffer against emergencies. If we've learned anything over the last couple of years, it's how unpredictable life and your employment can actually be. So number 1, have your buffer account. Number 2, focus on the order of operations. She talked about paying off high interest rate credit card debt. Now again, this is very, very powerful. Unless you're trying to get a high emotional return, a high return on attention, you should eliminate the high interest rate credit cards, but you should actually keep the low interest rate fixed interest rate type of things like your mortgage and potentially a car loan. A mortgage is usually anywhere between 3 to 7% and it's tax deductible. Once you have that interest rate locked in for a long period of time, then it might be more productive for most people to take the dollars that they have, and rather than attacking low interest rate debt like a mortgage or a car loan, now we can go start making it work. Now I'm probably going to disagree with step number 3 here because you know my view on 401ks, IRAs, anything to do with goldfish financial advice, but let's dive in and see what Nischa has to say.
It's offering you for your retirement fund. This is called different things in different countries. In the UK, it's the pension contribution, and in the US, you would have heard it as the 401k. And what this means is for every pound or dollar that you contribute, your employer will also match that contribution and put that towards your pension. So say you're earning 100,000 and you contribute 4,000 of that towards your workplace pension, your employer matches everything you put in. So you're basically making 100% return on your investment straight away. Remember, this is different from the full amount that you can contribute. All you care about here is contributing whatever you need to get the full match, because otherwise you're just leaving free money on the table. And unfortunately, for these retirement matches that employers provide as a benefit, you can't claim it retrospectively. So you can't claim it now for previous years. So you're going to repeat this one every single year. You never want to miss out on this free money. Step number 4.
Okay, really quick before we go on to step number 4, I fundamentally disagree with with this. Now, if you want an average, trajectory to average results in an average retirement, then yeah, put your money in a 401k. But the number one thing I want to share with you here is it's not free money. Of course, they're matching up to a certain sum of money, but that free money does come with opportunity cost. It does come with strings attached. That's money that your employer would likely be willing to pay you otherwise on your salary. And if you could be more productive with your money than the market can, that money is costing you. Second to that, as soon as your money goes in a 401k, it is now locked up. It is now 100% out of your control, and you're now riding the roller coaster of average advice and average Wall Street returns. My friends, that free money comes with golden handcuffs. That free money comes with an opportunity cost of what else you could have done with the money had you not allocated it to the market.
And imagine the kind of freedom and stability you'd have if you had 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in your bank account at all times, knowing that if anything happened, you lost your job, your business didn't work out, then you would have something to fall back onto, and that will all be taken care of. This is when you want to have enough money available so that if anything happens, you can bail yourself out and not rely on credit card debt to get you out of your situation. So you want to work out what is the absolute minimum you need to survive on. So your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, your total expenses for the month, and then multiply that number by 3 to 6 months if you're employed, or 9 to 12 months if you're self-employed. This number is your emergency fund, and it's different to your safety net that we spoke about in the first point. This is for the larger financial shocks that we just mentioned that have longer term implications. Now, once you've done that, this is where it gets fun, because you've completed the groundwork for a truly free financial future. Now you get to invest and meet some of your other financial priorities. So the next step is to invest through a
Okay, really quick, I want to share that is such amazing advice right there. So I love the fact that she's progressively building you into more and more financial abundance. Look, she said have 3 to 6 months or 6 to 12 months, depending on your level of employment. I want you guys to know, when I quit my corporate job, I had 12 months of my living expenses set aside. What I knew is I had a burn rate of 12 months to figure out the next phase of my career once I quit a corporate steady paycheck. That, my friends, is a version of freedom. That allows you to chase your dreams, to stop waiting for your dreams to come to you and to go out and find them. I love that financial advice.
Tax advantage account. The reason why you absolutely want to do this is because it's one of the most tax efficient places you can be putting your money in to make it grow. Most other investments require some sort of tax. When you buy a share and make money from it, you usually have to pay capital gains tax. However, when you invest through a tax advantaged account, such as an ISA, if you're in the UK, or a Roth IRA, if you're in the US, you shield your profits from the tax man. So you want to take advantage of these accounts up until the maximum if you can. Then we have a payoff.
Okay, one really quick thing to say on that. Man, she's crushing it. She's doing really, really good. Now, I don't agree with market-based investing, but she just dropped a gold nugget on you. The biggest destroyer, the biggest threat to your retirement is future taxation.
Where's all your money gone, Daddy?
Taxes 9, 10, 11. Let me fix my houses. It's okay. It's part of the game. It's not. It's not fun. It's not fun to what? It's the worst part of the game. Oh, it's what? Taxes.
She told you to get rid of it in a Roth IRA. Now, the problem with a Roth IRA is there are contribution limits. You can only put so much into those accounts. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos on the vault, you can put as much money as you want into a vault, and a vault allows you to get the same benefits as a Roth IRA, from eliminating future taxation with so many more benefits.
Yes! That's awesome!
I'm not gonna go into a vault on this video, but I love that she's bringing tax perspective into future-based financial planning. Most accountants want you to get a tax savings today, and they get that by deferring your taxes in a tax-deferred account. She's killing it.
Low interest debt. This includes, for example, student loans in some cases, and sometimes car loans. From a financial standpoint, this debt may not be hurting you as much, so you can choose whether you want to pay it off or instead use that money to invest. But my personal perspective is that unless this debt is being used to help you make more money, if it's not helping you do that, then you should be paying it off. So if you're using that money to invest rather than to pay it back, then it may make sense. But if you are not paying off your debt because you rather have more money left over to spend on things that you enjoy, then I would instead consider paying it off. When you consider debt as a normal way of life, it can very quickly cascade into a mindset of justification, and using it to fund an elevated lifestyle with low interest debt is something you want to avoid. You want to get into the habit of paying off as much bad debt as you can from your life. Then we have paying off your mortgage. This is the last thing on the list.
Okay, So if she's got this far, look, this is where I have to start to separate myself a little bit. Look, the reality of it is, I agree with a lot of the sentiment that she's giving you, but listen, when you have money, the number one focus of your money needs to be this. How do I buy my time back? How do I buy my life back? How do I gain financial freedom? And the reality of it is, if you have low interest rate debt, I want you to consider this. The best thing you can do is keep that debt. Raise your financial IQ and invest that money to create wealth. My friends, this is how financial freedom is created. You have a limited quantity of time and a limited quantity of resources. Those are the dollars that you have to do something with. When you allocate your dollars to paying off 5, 6, 7% interest rate debt, and you're not on track for financial freedom in 10 years or less, the opportunity cost, the order of operations, which is everything Nischa is talking about inside of this video, is off. You do not have the right order of operations that will lead you to the desired outcome. So my friends, whenever you're building a financial strategy, you have to begin with the end in mind. Once you begin with the end in mind, then you work backwards to figure out where you're at today and how to allocate in the most successful, the most strategic way possible the steps that you need to take to ensure the end from the beginning. Paying off high interest rate credit card, that is good. Paying off low interest rate debt like a mortgage, that is bad. Because ultimately what you're doing, I want you to consider this. You are giving control back to the bank. Consider that for a moment. Let's say you pay off your mortgage, which is what she's going to advocate as step number 7. You are now literally giving control back to the bank. And if you ever want to access the equity of your home, who do you have to ask permission to? The bank. My friends, if you want to be financially free, it's all about taking control over your money. And understanding how to use interest rates, debt, and interest rate arbitrage is the fastest way to achieve financial freedom. Now, I'm gonna stop the video right there. I'm gonna give Nischa a grade of B+, because overall her advice was solid. You have to build a solid foundation before you can build a tower on top of that. She taught you how to build a solid foundation. The tower though, my friends, the tower cannot be building a baseline of control and then handing the rest of your dollars over to someone else that takes control over your money and therefore your future. So my friends, you are on the Wealth Outside of Wall Street channel, so I can help you see through this maze of conflicting financial advice. Overall, Nischa's advice was good, but it will never make you financially free in 10 years or less. It'll put you in a better situation than the average individual, but you're not here to be average. You are here to be extraordinary. My friends, take a moment, do me a favor. Give me a like on this video, share this video with someone who needs a little dose of order of operations in their life. And join me on the next video where we're going to expose more of the lies, the hypocrisy of Wall Street, and ultimately give you the solutions of what to do about it. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. You must care about your money and your ability to retire. So subscribe, watch another video, and stay on the channel so we can help you make even more money and retire even faster. We'll see you on the next one.